Greetings and welcome back to SmartWatchTix.com. We've got the same nondescript box that we saw once before, and in that box was the first ever blood glucose reading smartwatch we've had on this channel. Well, guess what, folks? We've got practically the identical watch in today. This is an E500. The other one was an E400. And the main difference between the two is this one is an apple size and shaped watch, while the other one was a round watch. Now, before we dive deeper, I want to let you know also the price is really good on this one. It's coming from Banggood. We're looking at about a little over $30, probably lower if I can get you a coupon discount on it, and it does it all. We're talking ECG, we're talking blood oxygen, blood pressure, temperature, blood glucose, and more. Yeah. Let's take a look. Oh, by the way, in the listing, you can see you can get it with a bunch of different colored bands or this thing. Before I go further, that thing is this thing, which is a chest strap. So you can actually use the dongle thing here, put the watch in it, and put it on as a chest strap. I wanted to show you that right away because the next display in my advanced computer graphics is 4 different ways you can use it for measurement. As a watch, with the module in this little holder and holding on with your 2 hands. You can wear it as a chest strap, like I mentioned, or you can put these little sticky things on it and stick it on you like a traditional ECG type of a device. Very, very sophisticated unit, and really works. It really, really does. So we are looking at the E500. It's a 1.83-inch HD screen with all these different features. Tethers with Bluetooth 5.1, so it holds a good, strong connection. Hband is the tethering app, the same as the 400, and it works great. All the different languages supported are here. The push languages for text messages and such. You have call reminder, message reminder. There's no speaker or microphone. It's not a Bluetooth calling watch. There's no GPS. It's not a fitness watch. It's a health watch, okay? Blood sugar, heart rate, blood pressure, blood oxygen. Got sedentary reminder, drinking reminders. You got your overall sleep monitoring. We'll see that too. Multiple sports modes of sorts. Calories burned, distance traveled, and step count, of course. In addition, with applications, you got a music controller. You can remotely play the music in your phone or take a picture. You get brightness adjustments, timers, alarm clocks, weather in your area with Fahrenheit or centigrade. Custom dials can be installed and so forth. It's listed at IP68. I'm not so sure on this one, guys. It really feels like it's a plastic case, plastic screen, button on the side. I'm not going to dunk mine in water, but that's the rating on it. But it is only $30. The 400 is a significantly better build. You can tell that that one's waterproof. It's got PPGs, accelerometers, the ECG system in it. Basic 240 by 280 pixel, 1.83 inch. You'll see everything nicely. Not super sharp though. Standby time, 20 to 25 days, 3 to 5 days usage time, and about 2 hours to charge the thing up. So, when we get deeper into the box, we find it's just floating in some cardboard here. It's using a standard stock 2-pin connector, which, by the way, is identical to the E400 connector. It simply attaches on the back. Good and strong, can completely hold the watch. USB on the other side. In here, you've got the QC sticker that they've quality controlled it. You got information about doing the ECG testing, which is out of date. Talking about a band holding it like this or a watch holding it like that. It's not that way on this one. It's a 1 button over here. It's not even a button. It's just a plate. You touch that. The other plates on the back are in contact with your skin, and you're making the electrical circuit for doing the ECG. But you have this card in here anyway. And then you got the overall manual, which is basic, colorful, and covers everything. Hband app, QR code, Again, we got the link in the show notes. Just click there or go to the Play Store, Google Play Store, or iOS Apple Store, I guess. You've got main functions, body temperature, shows you basically what you can do. Blood sugar is the newest one now. That's a whole new measurement in these devices. Blood pressure, breath training, sports, weather, camera, shortcut functions that you can do, and precautions, okay, for heart rate and whatnot. Blood pressure, you want to have it at heart level. And again, these are just information only measurements you're taking. They are not calibrated to the medical level. They're not intended for making any medical decisions, okay? It's just a toy, but wow, it does a lot of interesting stuff. Let's put it on and try it. Now, I've already been wearing this one for several days, but I wanted to repackage it and unbox it for you. Press the button, turn it on. That's a special face I installed from the Play Store, or the Face Store within the Hband app. We are in the watch. You slide down, you get basic controls, your vibration, your do not disturb. Here's where we can change the overall brightness. And you can see it gets really, really bright. It works best right now for the review on the lowest setting. You can do your auto lock, which is the time out for it. Here we go. We have to press right on it, I guess. You can increase it and decrease it, the number of seconds for timeout. I'm going to run it up high, at least 20 seconds. Wow, it keeps going. Okay, 30? Sure, 30 seconds is the maximum. That way it won't time out during the review. Information tells you it's the E500. This is where you can completely erase the data, and it's almost washed out there. It actually says erase data, but you can barely see it, and that's on the lowest brightness setting pretty much. Wow, okay. This is where you can change the layout of your apps. We're going to do linear like that so it's easier to see. And then you get into your overall settings here. I got screen display, which we already looked at, and there's no more to that. Your health and monitor. These are where you can turn on and off the different things you want it to do. It can monitor heart rate, set a heart rate alert, a blood pressure monitor. There's blood oxygen alerts in this one. You can have blood glucose monitoring or not. And of course, as you turn these off, you save more battery power. All-day sleep monitor, body temperature, all-day monitor. I've got them all turned on. In this switch area, here's where you can have it tell you to get up and move, your sedentary reminder. And this is where you do your wake up. You twist your wrist to see the time. At night, I have to actually go in here and turn that off so it doesn't disturb me at night. You can set the date and time manually. This is where you can change the different style, list or grid. We're in list. There's your notifications, languages that are supported. We saw all that from the intro. Here's the Hband QR code that you scan after you've got the app loaded. You can hit the scanning thing and scan this and it'll pair automatically, which is really, really nice. And then system, which is what we already looked at, where you can power off or erase the data on the watch. Yeah, it is a little sluggish. There's a screen protector on it you can see, and I think it'd be easier without that. I may take that off. But again, listen, I don't know if you can hear. That's a plastic screen, guys. This is a cheap built watch. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is not high quality. It's only $30. It's not $80 or so for a really nice, same thing, but the E400 is a much better build. Notifications sent from your phone when you go down. This way, you get through your basic apps. Here's your step count information. Nothing else shown. You've got your heart rate. It immediately goes in, starts taking a heart rate for you, and it's showing you the heart rate for the day so far in the 24-hour period, your highest, your lowest, and so forth. Come over here, I get into blood pressure. I can tap a button. It's going to give me blood pressure. Now, while it's doing this and showing the percent completed, I want you to make note that on every screen, the time is present, and it describes what it is. This is the only watch like this that's doing the blood glucose out there that has the constant time display. And actually, I like that. You know, if I'm doing this and I say, well, what time is it anyway? and it doesn't show me the time. I mean, but this does. So 128/84 right now is the blood pressure. In the app, you see it does continuous blood pressure as well. Here is ECG. Now this is a little bit tricky because we're just doing an ECG monitor by holding it like this. And this is, you see the circle going around there, and you see the heart rate coming in down below, and you see the actual ECG signal going across. Now, what's odd about this? Yeah, it's way too high. So is it broken? No. Uncle Tix is in something called atrial fibrillation right now, which is where the heart rate is basically twice what it should be. And you guys have the rare opportunity of seeing it live. And that's my real heart rate right now coming in. Now, I don't know, when it went back here, that heart rate was, let's just take it one more time since you're here with me. The ECG heart rate from the electrical signal is indeed accurate, as I took it just before this with a calibrated instrument. It's having a bit of a time getting it. While we're waiting on that, I'm going to bring this over. There we go, 91, 87, 90. This one here, let's do it like this. Whoa, there we go. Should give me a reading. Okay, you see the ECG chart showing up there? And in the lower right-hand corner in a second, you're going to see what the actual heart rate is. So we are finding something out. The green diode heart rate in your basic heart rate on a watch is not taking into account fast heartbeat like we're getting when you're in atrial fibrillation or atrial flutter. AFib is when the beats are irregular, and atrial flutter is when they're evenly spaced apart, but they're too high. Wow, what a wonderful day. I finally was able to do it and show it to you live, and that's here in this ECG chart. Come over here, you get blood glucose, and you can see it going up and down. There was breakfast. Here's where I took it off, took a shower, had breakfast, went down, just had lunch, and now it's starting to come down. I take a reading, and gives you a percentage completion. It's pretty quick, and it's going to give you a number. Now, I'm not familiar with this because I don't need it. I haven't needed to be pricking my finger and getting a number, but those of you who do that, 7.86, if that's meaningful. It seems to be on the higher side because it goes down to about 3 point something or other. But that's the current reading for blood glucose. Blood oxygen now is using the red diode technology back here. And that's going to basically give us a percentage 95 to 100-ish or so. And then here's your heart rate. Now, temperature. Again, I got the time on the screen too. Takes a reading, it gives you your actual skin temperature, and then it computes your body temperature from that skin temperature, and you'll see that in the overall app as well. Last night's sleep time's in here, broken down into deep, light, and so forth, but it's only showing one page. Weather, when you're tethered to the Hband, will push the weather over to the watch, and now we're right back to the beginning. Now let's take a look at all the installed apps in here. We press the top button one time. That toggles you between your app drawer and the watch face. The very first thing is workout. So these are the different actual activities you can do. Outdoor run, walk, indoor run and walk, hiking. Now there's no installed GPS in this, but there definitely is the opportunity to run some of these different workouts if you want to. We already saw pedometer, sleep time, heart rate, blood pressure, blood oxygen, ECG, and body temperature when we went through all the different cards. But PTT is something new and different. When you tap PTT, you get this screen. This is for taking continuous heart rate when you take the watch module and put it in the chest strap or the device you hold, the same thing that you hold with your hand. And it doesn't just go through and take a short ECG and time out. You have to use this in conjunction with the phone. Take a look at the E500 review if you want to see it in action. But that's the PTT. Blood glucose we've already looked at. This is a cycling breathing exercise. You can specify how many minutes you want it to go, and hit start and inhale and exhale to try to slow things down for you. Weather we already looked at, notifications as well. You do have an alarm setting in here that you can set up via the Hband. And I think I just actually touched the timers, it looks like there, right? Yeah, that's the timers. And then there's a stopwatch in here, which does not run in the background, unfortunately. It just does it while it's on the screen. The music player, this lets you play music through your phone. You can go forward and backward. You can adjust the volume in here. There's no speaker or microphone, so you're not getting it coming out of the watch itself, but it will control the music in your phone. There's finding your phone. Ladies, there's the female cycle information when you set that up in the Hband app. You have an onboard calculator in this one, which is kind of cool. You don't see that too often in these watches because this is a rectangular apple-shaped type watch. It works well for a calculator. It includes the commas in here. Well, that's nice. It's kind of an upgraded calculator. Remote camera for taking pictures by triggering from the watch. And then, of course, your overall settings, which we've taken a look at already. Okay. Now, I encourage you to take a look at the review of the E400 and the overview of the Hband app is there as well. We're going to cover the same thing but faster here, and I go into a lot of depth in that one. Here's your opening page. You're looking at everything. We're connected right here. More lets me jump into testing and measuring any of these different things. Amongst them are your step count from the pedometer, when you did your steps. Here they are broken down into every half hour, how many steps you took each half hour. That's all in here. Last night's sleep time. That's an awake time. This does cover REM sleep in here now, as well as light and deep sleep. It's kind of busy, which I've mentioned before. So it seems to be jumping around between each of these states too quickly for me. A lot of other watches we've seen the reviews, you'll have a period where you're in light, then you go into REM, then you go into deep, maybe a little awake. It's more blocky. This is kind of hard to interpret where exactly you are and for how long you're there when it's jumping every minute or 2 minutes to a different state. But with that said, you are getting some good overall composite data out of it. Beyond here now, you get into heart rate. And look at this, it's got activity too. Now, during part of the morning here, late morning, I was working in the yard, cutting trees and pulling weeds and doing stuff, and I had quite a bit of activity, and you can see the heart rate also went up. Okay, this is not touchable on this one. Almost to 130 right there. Here are the distributions, mostly quiet time, a little bit of fat burning, and here are heart details, and it's showing you your heart rate every single minute in 5-minute increments. And as you can see, this is with the optical reading, not ECG. So right now even I'm getting 85, 82, not what we were seeing with the ECG reading of 150 some odd, but we're getting there. We're almost up to it. Heart rate variability is next. This gives you the Lorenz scatter diagram. What the heck is that? Check out the earlier reviews for detail, but what I want to show you in this one is the pattern. Here we are. It looks like it's a comet pattern as opposed to a rocket or shuttle or baton or grenade or fork or any of these others. Similar to this, a little spread out, but I can go back day after day. Let's get back here and look at these. Here is the previous night, and the night before that is really spread out. And there's another one, and another one. So when you wear this every single night, you can start getting a sense for what your RRN versus RRN plus 1 plot looks like. And you can go deep down the rabbit hole, especially with ChatGPT, to learn more about Lorenz scatter diagrams. Ask it to explain it to you like a 5th grader so you'd understand it. That's what I've done. Heart rate change. These are where you are. I'm very high on the stars on that. So it turns out it's looking pretty good. Now, beyond heart rate variability, there's blood pressure. There's the readings taken every 5 minutes it's set for right now. So if you see a radical change, you know there's something going on. Mine are running in the 120 to 135-ish range, it looks like, which is pretty much normal. You've got blood oxygen. Could talk a lot about this, but this is where you look for, through the night, what your average blood oxygen is. There's a couple of spots, like right here, where it dove down a little bit, 97 to 98 range. Other than that, it was pretty much 98 almost all night long. I'm finding this isn't as sensitive as other devices that measure blood oxygen, but it gives you a whole lot of data. Theoretically, if you have a sleep apnea event where it dives down, more than 10 or 20%, it'll flag that, and it can actually send an alarm to you. And I'll show you that here at the very end. You got blood oxygen concentration, respiratory rate, cardiac load, hypoxia time, and down here, hypoxia on arousal. When you turn that on, it will let you know if you are in that situation with very low blood oxygen, and it will trigger an alarm, so it can wake you up from all of that. Then you get some common sense descriptions of sleep apnea that are in the app as well, and Q&A kind of things. And of course, you get to go back and forth from night to night. There's the previous night, one big event maybe right there. Here's the night before that. Look at that, several different changes in blood oxygen. That's there. Now the blood glucose in detail. Here's the overall chart. When you look at it, I'm down here at 3.3, jumped up to 7.1, back down here to about 4, and now I'm way back up here, 8.2 at this moment. Maybe that has to do with what's going on with the heart as well. I'm not sure. Here's your zones, and you can turn on or off the blood glucose monitor here if you want to, or in the phone, in the watch itself. Body temperature now is all in here, and you got skin temperature chart or body temperature chart. And then this can be centigrade or Fahrenheit and tells you when your minimum, average, and maximum were, and the individual data as well. Really, really extensive, right? Ladies, it can drop you into your calendar. It can show you where you are in your cycle, when you began, and notify you on your smartwatch, which it will do in the notifications as you shift from different parts of your cycle. And finally, coming back up here to the ECG, this is where it gets fun. You saw us take the ECG test on the device itself. I can do it from here too, and it'll make a history recording of it by coming in here, hitting start, and then tapping the button. Now, I don't even have to turn the watch on. As long as I'm just touching the button, it's going to has a little time delay, about 8-10 seconds, and then it'll switch into the heart rate. And as you can see, I'm still at an extremely high heart rate. That's showing up here in the beats per minute. The QT interval is there, and then heart rate variability is shown as well. The jumping around of the chart is because I moved my hand and pointed with my finger, so it is important that you stay still. Now, this one takes a longer test. It's like about a minute, I think maybe 100 seconds. It looks like it's kicking off about that. And it gets your final answer. You can say confirm. It saves the data. And I can go into ECG details now. Shows you heart rate, intervals, and it says I got sinus arrhythmia. That's its analytic result of what we've got. I can turn this puppy sideways. I can look at the chart in detail here. You got all of your measurements. You got the frequency, speed, and everything. And you are looking at an abnormal heart rate that a doctor should be analyzing, and probably will, because we caught it, right? And these then become part of the record here. So if you go back, in ECG previous days, I haven't done ECGs on this one. I was doing it on the other one. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here is a typical one, 64 with these different intervals and whatnot. Whoops, changing the brightness. I don't mean to be doing that. Let's go into the sideways. That is what a normal heart rate looks like at about 64 beats per second. clean, easy, all there. So now you've got to see really the extent of what a little device like this for $30 can bring you in terms of data about your own health. So if you are looking at any kind of heart issues, it's highly important for you to monitor that professionally with a doctor and regular checking, but you can casually check on it with an inexpensive device just to get an idea of what your basic baseline is looking like. The workouts, this is an area where you can turn GPS on in the phone, tie it with the watch, and do some workouts if you want to. And then mine is where you get into your basic information, your step goals, units, app style, all of that. And in the actual device itself, you have all these settings you can turn on. Again, we've gone into a lot of detail of this in the other device, so I don't want to go too much other than to show you the different watch faces that you have in this apple-sized shaped screen on the E500, which are different than the round ones we had on the E400. Well, for some reason, we're not connecting with the server. I've tried it a couple of times now, but I can show you the other dials. There's the one of the stock dials. Here's another one. Here's the third one. And then you can do your own photo with digital time display if you'd like to as well. So that's all in the dials. And everything else is basically the same that we've seen before. And that is pretty much the app. Again, you can come in here and take these different readings anytime you want. You want to check your temperature, tap there, give it a few moments, and you can get direct test of your temperature or any of the other ones as long as you're within Bluetooth range. So this is something great if you have an elderly person you want to monitor. The only thing you need to do is if you're taking an ECG is to tell them that they actually need to touch the little plate when you tell them to, and by touching that plate, it'll allow it to activate. I know, I'm curious if it's still going on or not. I'll move down here so it'll get in focus. What do we got? Oh, it's shifting now. All right. Yeah, it's still running too high. Well, I'm going to take a relaxing nap after this review. So, of course, you disconnect now, and it's also going to just go crazy on you. You have to have it continuous in order to get a long time good reading. All right. I do want to show you when we take this off of here and remove the bands, like so, wipe it down, grab this little thing here that you connect it. You see this little tab sticking up? That needs to make contact with the plate here. So, and these two plates here will touch these pins. So if you snap it in like that, you can take this off, you can hold it, start it, hold the plates now, not this button up here, and there you go. Now, of course, it's going the wrong way. If you are comfortable with turning sideways, you can. Just hold still to get a complete and accurate chart on it. But very nice that you get the ECG chart actually on the watch. So if you're away from your phone, you can still do a reading. Well, just to catch you guys up, since I involved you in my atrial flutter incident right here on the E500, I wanted to show you a few days later now, we've got a nice stable heart rate going through. But right after I finished the review, I got a notice from my Fitbit watch. You see, I didn't wear the watch for the review. Here's the Fitbit app. I come down in here to my heart rate, and I go to the day I was filming, which is right here, obvious to see. It looks like I had some increase in heart rate. Then I took the watch off, and it spiked. And here's about the point where we were reviewing the E500. And then afterwards, I settled down and rested, and everything came back to normal. However, we were in atrial flutter, if you remember. I was getting regular heartbeats, only too fast. Well, check this out. Fitbit notified me I was experiencing irregular heart rate. Now, it is designed to assess whether or not heart rate looks like it could possibly be atrial fibrillation. And sure enough, look at the data that I'm getting after about 4:45 in the afternoon. Ranges from 58, 60 up to 160 some odd, 170 some odd, all during this time frame. Everything switched from atrial flutter to atrial fibrillation before it finally settled down. That is awesome. I've got 2 different ways now of detecting these issues, from a Fitbit watch and from this fancy E500 actual ECG. Now, again, this is just information only. I can't diagnose and treat with this, but I certainly can inform my health provider of the data that I've received through my own personal tracking. Just in case you're interested, you can pick this E500 up from Banggood. Got a really decent price here, $30 or so for everything it does, including on-screen ECG charts, temperature, heart rate, blood pressure, blood oxygen, and the new blood glucose reading, with a bunch of other stuff as well. It's a hot deal. I really think this is one worth checking out and treating it with a grain of salt. Check it against your calibrated instruments if you want to actually try and use any of the readings you get from it. But certainly worth exploring. Don't forget to pick up the chest band if you want to add that part too and be able to use it in a multiple variety of ways. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again soon.